Please welcome. First of all, I'd like to thank my support and inspiration, my partner Daniel, and of course, Three Bridges and Bus Stop Films, without whom none of this would have been possible. It's been a privilege to have the opportunity to make this film, and it's an honour to speak to you all tonight. I want to thank everyone who made this happen: Sarah, Genevieve, Rachel, Ash, Susan, Julian, Rob, our DOP, David Burr, the camera and sound guys, and the rest of the crew. Thank you not just for what we saw you do, but for everything you did behind the scenes, every problem we never heard about, and your generosity with both time and money. The process of making this film began with us, strangers in a classroom, soaking up every word our teachers had to say, and occasionally, with questions and curiosity, one of us would lead the whole group off topic. Before class, we all wandered in, tired and reserved. We started each lesson with 15 minutes of drama games to warm up. Hesitant at first, once we could be persuaded to participate, the creative juices began to flow, and it became a little easier to open up to each other. We became brave enough to share a little bit of our story with the group. And I noticed my fellow classmates' eyes light up with an unspoken bond. Each week, I wondered not only what we were going to learn about film, but what we were going to learn about each other. Who was going to surprise us all with a personal story or hidden talent? We're an interesting bunch. There was no room for boredom, and we made sure of that with the occasional discovery of sexual innuendos. True. As the weeks progressed, we went from classmates to comrades. We supported and encouraged each other to bring out our best. At the start of each lesson, we entered half asleep, but by the end of the class, we were revived. And for me, the buzz lasted the rest of the day. I would go home energized and often visit my neighbour Paula in the evening to recount my stories of the day. She would comment every time on how much I had changed since being in this course. I would deny it and insist that I'd always been like this. But perhaps we were both right. My classmates and I were like characters in The Wizard of Oz. We had these talents all along. We just needed someone to bring them out. The night before the shoot, we were lucky enough to get put up in a hotel in the city. We went out together for dinner, and we were even treated to gelato for dessert. I definitely felt a bit spoiled. I couldn't remember the last time I went out for dinner. Back at the hotel that night, excitement was in the air, and none of us could sleep. Perhaps insomnia is the curse of the creative. Perhaps, I think we lost the mic. Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
All right, good. Perhaps insomnia is the curse of the creative, or maybe just the crazy. After an hour or two of sleep, we rose early for the shoot. It was cold. But arriving on set, we had a lounge area set up, hot breakfast and fresh coffee. Soon it was time for me to get my makeup done. It took me by surprise. I didn't expect it to mean so much to me. Such a simple indulgence, yet so foreign to me. To have someone care for my appearance, care for me. It was something I hadn't experienced in years. If living with mental illness felt dehumanizing, then this was humanizing. In that moment, I remembered what it was like to be normal, to be the kind of person who has brunch with friends on the weekend and gets their nails done once a month. I guess Bus Stop Films could have saved a lot of money by just sending me on a spa day, but I think they made the right choice. Being on camera wasn't easy. Although some of the students I spoke to enjoyed the rush of performing, it was not exactly my comfort zone. I would much prefer to be behind it, in control. But I wanted to challenge myself, and I was motivated to do so. Because if we want change, we must get involved. We can't stay silent, waiting for someone else to do something about it. My favourite part of the shoot was going to Big Bang Sound Design. As I walked through the place, I saw framed movie posters all over the walls. Then I realised, holy shit, they've worked on all of these films? And sitting proudly on a cabinet among a bunch of trophies, I saw an Oscar. I held such reverence for the golden statue, I did not dare to touch it. Instead, I just snapped a quick selfie. I was a bit nervous recording my voiceover, but the guys at Big Bang were really down to earth. They even let me sit in on other sessions, where I did my best to give helpful feedback to my fellow classmates. It was rewarding to see my suggestions put into action. I guess I learnt that rather than being the star, I prefer telling people what to do. After all the hard work was done, we were treated to a wrap party. They even made sure there was food for the pickiest eater in the room, me. The whole experience of being on set was something special. Everyone should do it if they get a chance. But we don't just do it for fun. There is a reason we make films like the one you're about to see. Tonight is an important night, not just for those of us here in this room, but for the wider community affected by mental health. Even though it can be uncomfortable, each of us involved with this project know how crucial it is to tell our story. We're speaking up not just for ourselves, but for others, to have our voices heard, so that the treatment of mental health patients can be improved and mistakes not repeated. People need to be informed of what's happening so that there will be demand for change. Otherwise, these events will simply be repeated over and over. And without further ado, on behalf of my fellow students and everyone who made this possible, I would like to present to you our film, Gambling with Minds.